everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means? It's time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving. I'm doing this with my arms a lot. I don't know why. Who knows? Time has no meaning. I've been spending most of the weekend watching Desert Bus, which I know I talked about last week, Friday and Saturday. But yeah, if you're not aware, it's an awesome charity webathon benefiting Child's Play charity, and it runs every year, and it's running right now. So if you were over there and now you're over here, thank you for taking a break from the bus to join me for exercise. Hi. Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new week. Oh boy howdy. I hope that your weekend went well. I'm doing okay. I am very disappointed in Colorado right now because, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, it felt like Colorado was doing taking a lot of really good steps to keep people safe and not shying away from the stay-at-home orders and, you know, really making sure that we were, you know, not gathering inside in restaurants or bars and all of that stuff. And but unfortunately, as time has gone on and it has become increasingly clear that the federal government doesn't give a crap about either our lives or our ability to, you know, maintain financial solvency in a time when so many people are out of work. The Colorado government has shifted much more in the direction of no, nothing's happening. Oh, whoops, something happened. Isn't that crazy? Who could have seen it coming? So what they did today was, you know, we have the color wheel of danger from green to red, you know, and red is supposed to be where it triggers a stay-at-home order, and we've hit red, but we've not been given a stay-at-home order because they've added a new color to the color wheel. They added purple to the end of the color wheel, as far as I can tell, in a blatant attempt to not issue a stay-at-home order, even though it is obviously very, very needed, because apparently we just don't know how to take care of people and how to prioritize people's health and safety over late-stage capitalism. So I've been really frustrated about that. It's, you know, it's one of those things where the article I was reading couched it in very, very fancy language and was like, oh yeah, you know, there's totally a legitimate reason that we're doing this. And you read the article and you're like, no, there isn't. You just admitted that we've hit the criteria for a stay-at-home order and clearly just don't want to do that. So you're moving the goalposts. So if you live in Colorado, my dears, please, if at all possible, maintain quarantine conditions. And I recognize that for many of us that's not possible. You know, for those of us who work in retail or in food service, in coffee shops, in grocery stores, you know, we don't get that option, and many of us never got that option. And my heart is with you because it really sucks. But if you have the ability, if you either have the flexibility to work from home or you have the ability to push on your employers to allow everybody to work from home, you know, please do everything that you can. Yes, wash your neighbors, don't touch your hands, and stay 6 feet away from your face at all times. Just words to live by, my friends. But yes, it's incredibly frustrating, but I've been soothing a lot of my soul with Desert Bus, which is just always a really delightful force for good, unequivocal force for good too, and there are not a ton of those on the internet, so it's always a joy to get to participate in them. So after class is done, I highly recommend people heading over to, what is it, twitch.tv/desertbus? Is that literally the URL? If you They've been on the front page for several days, so you could probably find them there. But if you search Desert Bus for Hope, you'll also probably find them. But yeah, if you're looking for a pick-me-up with some really delightful Canadians, highly recommend. All the money gathered goes to a good cause. There's the link is in the chat. And I'll definitely be heading over there as well, unless I decide to play a little Valhalla tonight. Who knows? Ooh. All right, my friends. I am on the tail end of my rest week, so I'm still going to be doing what I was doing for most of last week, where I'm just demonstrating things, but I'm not taking class along with you. So just so you know, that's the reason that I'm not moving as much up here, and I'm going to be digging a lot more into form because I'm not, also doing the exercises with you. It's a lot less to distract me from that. But let's do our pre-class checklist. So everybody got your water vessels of some kind. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. When's the last time you drank any water? Hopefully just now. You got your comfy clothes on. You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you're using a fitness wearable, go ahead and turn it on now to a high-intensity interval training setting. So that is what we're doing. You can see me trying to crack my neck. So the shoulder is definitely better. The shoulder is absolutely better than it was this time last week. I think I was in a lot of pain, and the rest week was absolutely what I needed. It's definitely calmed down a bit. The last couple of days I haven't done any strenuous movement or exercise, and that's definitely helped. But it's always there. It's the kind of thing where I sent an email to my chiropractor to see if I could schedule something, and I'm not going to be able to see her until the end of the month, unfortunately. But it's all right. If I can get it to calm down through natural means, that's good, and then I can hopefully, assuming that we haven't reached purple yet, have an appointment. Oh my God, friends. What an exhausting time to be going through. All right. It's tiring, but we are here, and we're here to exercise, and we're going to start with our warm-up. 93 letters, chiropractor. I don't get the reference. It's definitely not 90. You made me think for a second. I was like, there's not 93 letters in the word. No, of course there's not. That would be silly. Oh my God, it is an Eddie Izzard reference. Oh, it's clearly been far too long since I've watched Eddie Izzard if I can't recognize an Eddie Izzard quote without context. That's just horrifying. All right. We'll have to put the Eddie Izzard quotes on pause, though, because we are going to head over and start up our warm-up. So on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as you hear that horn go, we will begin with our hip rocks and bridges. So remembering that we are engaging the core in order to lift those hips. So we're not just trying to push off the floor. That's not really going to get us very far. You want active core engagement to push those hips up towards the ceiling a little bit. And then when you bring that standing foot back down to the floor, come up onto the ball of the foot and push up into that bridge, all right? And we're just going back and forth, so we're not needing to go for full height on either of these. If I was really pushing it, I could get all the way up here and get all the way up here, but this is a warm-up, so we're booting systems up. We are not trying to get to maximum movement right off the top of the bat, so just make sure that you keep that in mind, but you do want that core engagement when you lift the hips. All right, switching feet, going for the other side. Remember what I said about depending on the flexibility of your hip, you may also get a bit of a hip stretch into this, which is really nice, because when you lift this leg, it pulls this entire apparatus closer to you. If you've ever done a pigeon stretch in a yoga class, it's a very similar stretch, and so you'll feel a nice stretch on the outside of your hip depending on how flexible or inflexible your hip is. So I always feel the stretch a little bit more on this side because this is my less flexible hip. So just always learning more about ourselves. Good times. I didn't talk about this before we started class, which is fine because we're in the middle of the warm-up now. I can talk about it now, but as we go into our Jane Fonda, so nice straight line of the body, lifting that top leg, all right, like Our Lady Jane, engaging the core so their hips aren't rolling around, and just doing that leg lift. Remembering that we have 2 other exercises on this side before we switch to the next side, so don't roll over immediately once the timer goes. If this is your first time taking perpetual motion, hi, welcome. Sorry I didn't talk about this before we jumped into the warm-up, but the reason we call it perpetual motion is because we do not stop moving for the entirety of class. So usually, say when we would get to the end of the warm-up, when the final buzzer would go off, you'd be able to stop moving, stand around, take a drink, etc., etc. Today, when that final buzzer goes off, we will go into an active rest exercise. All right, taking that top foot flat on the floor in front of the bottom knee. Now we're lifting the bottom leg. So, yeah, so every time you come to the end of a workout segment, we will go into our active rest, our cross jacks, and we will use that. You still want to make sure you're drinking water during these breaks. Very important to keep yourself hydrated. Even though you are moving around, it'll be a little more complicated. If you've ever run any sort of a long race, you know, 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, etc., you know that just because you can't really stop moving does not mean that you shouldn't be drinking water. It just means that you need to be a little more careful so you don't spill it all over yourself. And that's what you need to do today. So if you have left your water bottle on the floor, all right, switching that foot back behind the bottom knee, still lifting that bottom leg. Make sure that your water bottle is at standing height, easily accessible for doing an active rest exercise on your feet, okay? So if you usually leave your water bottle on the floor, definitely make sure to grab it and move it somewhere a little higher up so you're easily able to grab it and drink from it with a minimum of disruption to the active rest exercise. You don't want to stop moving. You don't want to be standing around. You want to be moving the whole time, okay? That's why it's called perpetual motion. Fun times. All right, so this is the last of the 3 leg sequences. So as soon as the timer goes off, we'll switch to the other side and we will do all 3 of these again. And now that I've gotten that advisory out of the way, I can concentrate a little bit more on form. Okay, so starting with our Jane Fonda, and our goal is a nice straight line of the body. So this is something that as you develop a better spatial awareness and a better understanding of where your limbs are in space at any given time and what it feels like to have your body in different positions, in a straight line, in a squat, etc., etc., you can just sort of get into this position and not really have to futz around with it. But if you're not there yet, that's totally fine. Just start to learn what measuring sticks, basically, you can use to get yourself set up. So for something like this, where we're like, straight line, well, I've got a nice straight line along the edge of my mat. And so just set yourself along that. And then pay attention to how it feels to be in that straight line, okay? Now we're going to take that top foot and put it flat on the floor in front of the bottom knee. And we're lifting that bottom leg, which is pretty standard. We don't need to worry too much about form for the lifting the bottom leg. What I do want you to pay attention to is this top knee, okay? Because our aspirational position is having the knee straight up and down, pointing straight up towards the ceiling, okay? This is good practice for when we're doing squats. We want always our knees in squats to be going straight over our feet, not caving forward. If your knee's caving in here, it's not terrible because we're not putting any pressure on this, but this is a great place to start to pay attention to, okay, what muscles do I need to engage to pull that knee up and keep it safely positioned where I want it to be. So start learning that here in a low stakes environment, okay? And now for our last one, this is our most stable position. So we've still got this foot flat on the floor back here, but we're not having to do any work to keep this knee in this nice solid upright position. So this is just nice and stable. We're not having to worry about our hips rolling back and forth. And so we can really just focus in on lifting that leg and examining what muscles are engaged by that leg lift. Obviously the inner thigh comes into play, the quads come into play. You will probably feel a little bit in the lower, this is probably lower obliques, I would say, as well. So just pay attention and go, okay, what are the muscles that are activating? Are there muscles activating that I wouldn't necessarily have thought were being impacted by this exercise? And just start to get to know these components of your body. Now we're moving into stretching out our backs and our hips. So planting our forearms flat on the floor and starting to do our scorpion twists. So taking one leg at a time and stretching it back behind us, foot flat on the floor, knee pointing up towards the ceiling as best we can, and then going in the other direction, but making sure that we're not lifting our elbows at all. So if you're like, okay, I can totally get here, I just need to lift my elbow a little bit, then you can't get there yet, okay? So maybe that means you can't twist as far, but that's okay. And you can start to feel the improvements week over week as you go, oh wow, I was able to make it a little farther into that stretch this time than I usually am. And so you have a nice metric to follow for improving your flexibility. Now, we're standing up, we're holding an imaginary PVC pipe above our heads, and we're doing nice, big torso rotations. You want to change directions every couple of rotations. So generally, I'll do 2 in one direction, and then I will turn and go the other way, because we're only doing this on one timer, so you want to make sure that you're evening yourself out, okay? And doing that deliberately. And making sure that all of the movement generated is coming from the hips. So I'm not moving the arms around. I've had students who will like take a position here and sort of try and follow the pole around. The pole's not moving, it's chilling here. Everything is generated from the hips and the hips only. Now, we hold that pole above our heads and we start doing squats. So this is our first dip into squats. And we do a lot of squats in various parts of these classes. So really focusing in on your squat form, always a good idea. So where do we start? We start with our knees. I should be able to keep them going straight forward over my feet at all points, both coming down and standing back up, okay? I don't want them caving in towards each other at any point. So if you can't do this without your knees caving in at some point, then narrow your stance a little bit. Try again. Okay, cool, I can maintain that. So I will practice here until I feel strong enough to shift back out to that wider position and give it another go, okay? All right, now we're moving into our Samson stretches, which is a nice deep stretch, really getting the front of that hip flexor, okay? So we're taking that nice deep lunge, straight leg in the back, lifting the arms straight up towards the ceiling. Then we step up to the front and step back on the other side. All right, things to think about, making sure that your hips are pointing forward, the whole time, all right? So we want those pelvic bones, it's like they have headlights on them, and the headlights are always facing forward. We're never opening out into like a warrior two, because that takes all of the stretch off of the front hip flexors, and this is what we're aiming to get at, okay? So if you feel that stretch starting to go away, you may be trying to accidentally open your hips out. So nice straight ahead pelvic bones. All right, now we come down into our wide squat position, hands on the knees to keep them safely over the feet, and we're just twisting our shoulders one at a time in towards the midline. Everything else about this position is stationary. We're not bouncing up and down out of the squat. When I bring a shoulder in, I don't want that knee to try and follow. I'm only moving the shoulders. And it's a lot easier to hold that position when you have your hands on your knees, because you get the leverage, which is awesome. We have other exercises where you just have to hold this position, and again, you need to be aware of what are the muscles that I need to engage to make sure that my knees stay safely over my feet the whole time. But in the warm-up, we get that extra leverage, and it works out beautifully. Alrighty, so now we head into cardio with our jumping jacks. Remember, we're still ramping up the amount of energy that we're using over the course of the warm-up, right? So we are not yet at 100% because there's 45 more minutes of class after this warm-up is done, and it's Perpetual Motion Day, which means that we don't get to stop and stand around like I'm doing. So you need to be aware of how you're rationing your energy. So for our jumping jacks, I'm doing really relaxed. You know, I've got my elbows really heavily bent the whole time, just tapping my fingers above my head, letting the elbows come down to my sides. I'm not doing a big jump at any point in there. So we're starting to engage the cardiovascular system, getting the heart rate going a bit, getting the breathing going a bit, but we are not trying to overload it or really push it heavily. Now we come down to our kick-throughs. And again, this is an exercise that I focus a lot of attention on because it has so many pieces to it. There are so many components that we need to pay attention to from a form perspective to make sure that we're doing it correctly and we're doing it safely. So making sure that for my arm that's stabilizing me, that my shoulder is strong and stable. It's not sinking around, moving around. It is held, trying to keep it as much over my wrist as possible to have that nice strong position. For my standing leg, I want as much of a 90-degree angle as possible with the knee pointing straight up towards the ceiling, and then switching from side to side. So always take that slowly if you're still unsure of all the components. Here we are. Last but not least, our burpees. Making sure we're doing a wave push-up and a nice big victory clap at the top. So we're jumping into a plank, but then we let the hips go and we do that wave. All right? And remember that when we get to the end of these burpees, that final horn's going to go off, but we're not going to stop moving. We are going to go straight into our active rest exercise. So I will be here to show you what it looks like, but you need to be paying attention. Okay, I need to know from any point in these burpees how I would get back up on my feet to start the cross jacks, right? Because I could be leaning over, I could be in a plank, I could be in a push-up, or I could be already standing. So here are cross jacks, just jumping out and in, crossing one foot in front of the other, crossing one hand on top of the other, and just chill. Enough activity that we're going to keep a baseline level of heart rate activity, but we can bring the breathing down, bring the heart rate down. A couple of modifications. You can keep the arms the same, but kick the feet forward, or you can do this side to side jump like that. All right, I'm fine with those modifications. Just make sure that you keep moving the whole time. All right, my dears. Woo, and make sure you're drinking water. Again, super important. It's a little more complicated because we're jumping around, but still important. All right. So today we are going to sprinkle some really condensed guided sets through the class. So generally our guided set, this is the pinnacle of me controlling you and how you're moving and what tempo you're doing, okay? So we have everything from the AMRAP sets where I give you an amount of time, but you get to control when you switch from exercise to exercise, how much power and energy you're putting into it, etc., to our perpetual motion and Tabata timers, where there's going to be set amounts of time that you spend on each exercise, to our guided AMRAP sets, where I am telling you specifically when to switch from exercise to exercise, and then this, which is going to be me telling you when to switch from exercise to exercise and giving you the exact rhythm that you need to be moving on, okay? So we're going to do this a few times. It's going to be the same each time, so that's nice, a little consistency, but just pay attention while you're here cross-jacking, pay attention. The two exercises are our toe squats, so taking our feet in a hip-width position, then showing you from the side, back, straight up and down, and we're squatting all the way down to the floor, letting our heels come off the ground, and then coming back up to the top, okay? So down and up. And then squat jumps are going to be our other exercise. So taking our feet somewhere between hip and shoulder width, squatting down, and jump, 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 and jump, okay? So those are our two exercises. So everybody cross-jack back onto your mats. And what I'm going to be doing is giving you a rhythm and going and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, like that, okay? And we'll just be going back and forth between the two. So everybody on your mat, you're cross-jacking until I tell you to go, okay? So get used to the rhythm, get ready, 5, 6, and start with jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2, up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and that's that's the end. Good job. Now immediately back to your cross jacks or whatever modification you're doing, all right? Remember, you don't get to stop and hang out. We're still moving. But good job. It's always really interesting to have somebody else tell us the exact rhythm. Because I feel like a lot of exercise classes, a lot of fitness classes have started to move away from that, unless they're, specifically dance space and you have movements that are supposed to be done on specific rhythms. But, I think about like the aerobics classes that I used to teach when I was in high school, and all of that stuff was really heavily rhythmic, and you selected a music mix with a very specific BPM, and everybody was stepping and moving in very specific rhythms. And a lot of fitness classes have moved away from that model in a lot of ways. So it's always interesting to come back to it. I think I'm gonna start playing around with it a little bit more. People who've been with me for a while know that this is generally the structure of my super guided intervals, but I feel like there's some fun places to play in there, and it's about time for me to figure them out. All right, my dears. So now we're going to do a perpetual motion set with 1 minute work intervals. We're going to be ramping down the amount of time in the work interval each time. So that's something to look forward to. But we're starting with full minutes, and we have 3 exercises. First one is going to be a goblet front lunge. Normally I would do this with a weight, but this is a body weight class. So we're just going to start standing together, and I want to step forward far enough that I can come down into the squat position without pushing my knees super far forward. I want to try and have that knee, that shin perpendicular to the ground. Step back, and other side, and back. Things to think about: I am not trying to come down to my knee, okay? So your knee can tap the ground, but you're not supposed to put weight on it. And 2, you will probably have to step forward a lot farther than you might think that you need to in order to protect the front knee. So just keep that in mind. So we've got goblet front lunges. Then we're going to do the slow leg lower again, because a minute is a great amount of time for that. So we're on our backs, and our feet are straight up in the air, and we are going to engage the core and tilt that pelvis up so that our lower back is glued completely flat on the ground, so that I cannot get my fingertips under it at all. And then slowly lowering the legs, maintaining that lower back connection. Stop the legs every 15 degrees. Hold for 2 seconds. Keep going down. Hold for 2 seconds. Keep going down. Hold for 2 seconds. Keep going down. Hold for 2 seconds. And then reverse, okay? If you ever feel your lower back come off the ground, reset and start again. This is a great exercise for telling us how much core strength we have. And then our third exercise is, where am I? Oh, push-ups. Awesome. So we can do our push-ups from plank, from the knees. We can do just a regular plank push-up. We can plank down and wave up, wave down and plank up. Do a full wave. The only things I care about are hitting this plank position each time with the shoulders directly over the wrists, nice long body, butts not in the air, and keeping those elbows in right by the sides as we go down and up, so not letting them flare out. All right? Okie dokie. So everybody cross-jacking back onto your mat, and as soon as you hear the timer, we will begin with our first exercise, which is goblet front lunges. All right, here we go. So having to figure out how to get from there to here, okay? You don't want to waste any time in making that transition, right? We talk about how starting on time in perpetual motion classes means minimizing the transition time from the exercise you're currently doing to the exercise that you need to start doing, okay? It's a very different approach than when we're doing a Tabata interval, where we have those 10 or 15 rest seconds, and we have the warning, and we can just go, okay, well, I'm starting with goblet front lunges, so I'm just gonna stand here and wait until the horn goes. With this, I have to be doing my cross jacks up until I hear that horn, and then I have to, as immediately as possible, be doing my goblet front lunges. All right, now we get down and we're doing that slow leg lower. And for anyone who struggles with core strength, worries that they don't have a lot of core strength, this is the exercise for you. It is an ab exercise where it's basically impossible to compensate with other muscle groups, which means that it's really going to focus everything in on your core. And it's really easy to perform because we're not holding our upper back up in any position, which frequently, when we're doing core exercises, it involves us having to lift up like this, curve like that, which can be uncomfortable for people's necks and shoulders. This, we're lying on the ground the whole time. You just need to make sure that that lower back is completely flat, okay? And now our push-ups. Remember, I give you all those versions of push-ups for a reason, okay? I do not care what version you are doing. If you have a version that you feel is harder or more challenging, try and work towards that, but I'm not going to tell you what that one is, all right? Any type of push-up that you're doing out of these modifications is going to give you a great arm workout, all right? Just really focus in on keeping those elbows in by your sides, all right? We're really focusing the work on the triceps by doing that and by not letting our elbows fan out. There are other forms for push-ups that work different areas, okay? So if you've learned a different style, don't worry, it doesn't mean that you're wrong, but recognize that what we're doing here is very specifically elbows in, all right? Hey, second time around, how did it feel clambering up onto your feet to start doing those goblet front lunges, huh? Yeah, so again, you have to figure out what the shortest distance between two exercises is going to be. So by the time we get to round 3, you'll be an old hand at this, right? All right, hang on. Oh, no, random spam bot. I don't want to become whatever your version of famous is. So bye-bye. Satisfying. Satisfying to make the spam bots go away. All right. We're doing good. Focusing a lot of good work on the legs right now. Remembering to check in on that knee form. Protect your knees. They're so important to your overall mobility. All right, now getting down into those slow leg lowers. So something you can do. I know for me, I like to keep my hands here so I can keep checking with my fingertips. You want to keep checking that your back, your lower back is still flat against the ground. But this position can be super uncomfortable if you have shoulder issues. So if you have a yoga strap at home or some sort of a long, thick enough to be captured by your body weight belt or cord, put that under your lower back and just tug on it every once in a while and go, okay, cool. Can I move it? No? Great. Then my back is still pressed against the floor the way that I want it to be. oh, did it move? Then I need to reset and start again because my lower back was coming up, okay? So that is a great additional way to check that you've still got the form. All right, second time through for our push-ups. And anyone who came through October with me, I am willing to bet that you are feeling some great increased strength, arm strength, the way that I am. Well, not today because shoulder, but the way I usually am. So really lean into that. You know, that was an intense month. That was an intense month. We did a lot of hard work on that month. And I want you to really pay attention to the improvements that you see as we keep going forward. And we're going to do more programs like that. We're absolutely going to do more stuff like that. Probably not until the new year. I really want to be able to build them out right. But we're gonna keep doing that because it was very fun to be able to feel how we improved over the course of the month. All right, last time through. So you are up doing those goblet front lunges, and again, checking in on our knees, okay? So we do not want to be pushing our knee super far. You want to try and have that shin perpendicular to the ground. And same with the other side, okay? So again, if I just step like this far forward and come down, look at that. My knee has nowhere to go except past my toes. So I have to really step forward a lot farther, but then I have to pull back a little bit because if I step forward that far, I'm trying to push forward, and I need to remember that this is the position. So there's a lot of push forward, but then immediately back pedal. Push forward and then pull back. It's very confusing, but you can do it. I know you can. All right. Last time for that slow leg lower. We love getting that work on our cores. Our abdominal muscles are just so critical to so many components of movement, mobility, rotation. Y'all know, if you've been taking my class with me for a while, that I consider this to be a pretty foundational stabilizing muscle group. And there are very few, if any, exercises I can think of that are not improved by making sure the core is engaged. So I always love these opportunities to really make it the star of the show because it's doing a lot of work for us, and a lot of times it is one of the weaker muscle groups. So whatever we can do to build it up is going to be great. All right, you've come to your final round of push-ups, so make sure that you are prepared when that final horn goes off to get back up and immediately start doing the cross jacks, yeah? Because I bet you had forgotten that we were in perpetual motion class, or maybe you hadn't. But if you had forgotten, hey, guess what? We're in perpetual motion class. So make sure that you stand right back up as soon as that final horn. Don't worry, you've got like 25 seconds left. You're fine. You're fine doing those awesome push-ups. Checking in on that form. Is your form just as good on this third run as it was in the first one? All right, that is always our goal. We always want form first before anything else. All right, if you can do the form, you can go anywhere. All righty, and now standing right up and going immediately into those cross jacks. Active rest, fun times. Making sure you're grabbing some water. Oh yeah. Oh golly. Water is very good. Yeah, I'm still feeling the shoulder. It's definitely, I might ramp up movement a little bit more in the coming week, but I will probably do another week of trying to take it a little easy. See if I can get in with my chiropractor. Although she has this preternatural ability, she was like, oh yeah, schedule on my website, and or on my online booking thing, and I went and I was like, oh, looks like I'm not getting into the last week in November, and she was like, oh, I can probably fit you in this week. How about 6 on Wednesday? And I was like, that doesn't work. I'm teaching. And then she was like, how about 9:30 or 10 on Saturday? And I was like, man, you were really good at picking only the spots where I'm teaching class. And considering that I'm only teaching class like 1.5 hours out of every 24, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, I just want to make sure I'm taking it easy. So if I show up in class at any point in the next few weeks and my shoulder is covered in tape, I'll be really happy about it, because I haven't gotten rock tape done in a while, and I think I could use it. All right, we're going to do another guided set. Same 2 exercises, squat jumps and toe squats. Same structure, same rhythm, same everything, okay? So you know what's happening, which is awesome. So you're here doing your cross jacks, but getting ready to get started. So here's the rhythm. And 5 and 6, and here we go. And jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2, and that's the end. Right back into cross jacks. Yeah. All right. Whatever version you're doing right now, just keep on moving, keep on drinking your water, all that fun stuff, all that good stuff. Oh, man. Good times. Good times, my friends. Good job. We are moving right along. I know sometimes, it's interesting with the perpetual motion class, time can either feel like it's going slower than normal or faster than normal. So whatever experience you're having, I feel you. Hopefully it doesn't feel like it's going too slowly. But yeah, so we are going to do another perpetual motion set, this time 45-second work intervals. Okay, so we're ramping it down by 15 seconds, which is exciting. 3 different exercises. So our exercises are going to be, first we're going to do turtle burpees. So y'all know regular burpees. This is a slightly different variant that incorporates the turtle move. Oh geez. So rolling up onto our shoulders, and then right up onto our hips, onto our feet. Plant the hands, jump into that plank, wave push up, jump forward, jump up, and repeat. All right, so just some very tiny differences from that versus our usual burpee, but enough that we really have to pay attention. Then, full pike extensions. So, starting balanced on our tailbones in a pike position, reaching all the way out, legs fully extended, arms fully extended, but everything still held off the ground by that core, and then pulling right back up, down, up, okay? And then our third exercise, our toe squats. And you know how to do that because we just did a bunch of them. So, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice and soothing when we have that? All right, my friends. So everybody cross-checking onto your mat, and as soon as you hear that timer going, you go straight into your turtle burpees. All right? So here we are. Remember, you can use a hand to push yourself up. I recommend working towards being able to use the momentum to just roll right up onto your feet, okay? Because when we have to push ourselves with our hands, that tends to slow the momentum. And these exercises, anything with turtle in the name, is all about the momentum, you know? I'm going here, and then I'm immediately here, and then I'm jumping up, and then I'm rocking again. So I don't want to do anything that's going to stop that, arrest that momentum, right? All right, now you're doing those full body pikes. So again, core engagement. In some of the ways that we try to compensate for weak cores, pulling ourselves up with our arms or pulling ourselves forward with our heads. A lot of times people will do ab exercises and then they'll be like, God, my neck feels really stiff. Well, it probably feels that way because instead of using the core muscles to really pull yourself back up into this balance, you were probably trying to pull yourself forward using your head, which is A, not the exercise, and B, really uncomfortable. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Now our toe squats, hey, you get to control the rhythm right now, which is always exciting. Make sure that you are also in control of the exercise the whole way down and up. So we don't want to let gravity take over and sort of slam us down so we're bouncing on our knees down here. It's not good for our knees. So we want controlled, even if I'm going quickly, I am still controlling the motion the whole time, okay? So really paying attention to that. You are in control. Having the core engaged, again, is going to be supremely helpful for that. All right, heading back to our turtle burpees, second time through. And this one, I mean, you know how much I love these turtle exercises. There are few enough exercises that we do in classes like this where you really get to feel like you're moving for the fun of it, you know? So many of the things that we do are like, oh yeah, gotta be really intense about it, you know? Gotta get that power. And this is just, I get to roll up onto my shoulders like I did when I was a little kid, you know? So really try and harness the power of that joy, okay? Because we want to enjoy what we're doing. We want to have fun with what we're doing. So find those points where you're having fun. All right, now back down to those pike extensions. Remember, starting on time, always, always go off of that horn, okay? I am not a reliable witness when it comes to starting on time. I get on talking tangents and I miss the horn completely. And then, you know, a few seconds later, I'm like, oh yeah, switch. So no, don't listen to me. That horn is the be all and end all. That horn tells you when to switch from exercise to exercise. If I missed it, it doesn't matter. The horn told you when to go, okay? So just keep that in mind because a lot of times I feel like we get too attached to the teacher as the authority figure. In this instance, the authority figure is absolutely my interval timer. All right, so it just told you a few seconds ago to switch to toe squats. So hopefully y'all switched to toe squats and are continuing to move. So how are you feeling? So again, this is a perpetual motion class. You have not stopped moving this entire time. And that takes a lot of understanding of how to use our available energy, okay? Because we want, oh God, my poor shoulder. We want to be able to push ourselves. We want to be able to intensify our power and our speed. That's how we raise our baseline level of energy needed to do things. But it also is a little bit of a balancing act, okay? If you have run races, done any sort of long distance race, then you understand what that means. If you are more used to, sprint-based activities that depend on a lot of immediate power and speed for a very short amount of time, then this is a switch, okay? This is a switch, and it's a shift in perspective, and it's something that we really need to pay attention to so that we're not running through our available energy halfway through class and then just desperately trying to crawl to the finish line, right? So pay attention to that, especially if this is your first time. Again, we don't want to be using up all of our energy and turning the rest of class into a misery, all right? We want to enjoy ourselves. It's going to be hard, so enjoyment may come from, all right, well, I feel a bit of a badass after having finished that, but we still want to have the memory of enjoyment be what sticks with us, right? Okay? When I look back on this class 2 days later, I don't want to look back and go, oh my God, that was miserable and I'm still dying. I want to look back and go, all right, that was hard, but I made it through and I felt like a superhero when I did. And I want to do that again and see what I can do, how I can keep building up my strength and my power. And that's what we want to focus on, okay? And it can take a while to build that up, absolutely. This is not a fast process, all right? This is a lifelong journey, hopefully. We want to be able to be as healthy and mobile and active as we desire for as much of our lives as possible, all right? And we can do a lot, let me tell you. All right, so now you dropped back into those cross jacks. Huzzah, huzzah, doing great. We have only 2 more things to get through, which is exciting. And one of them, yes, is going to be another guided set, but make sure you are drinking some water. Oh my God, I was prepping training programs for some new clients a few days ago, and I was looking back at all of these form videos that I did, not on my actual channel. This was before I'd started to build up that aspect of the business. But I did a bunch of form videos, for my remote training clients. And even though I only did those videos like maybe a year ago, I already was like, oh, I need to redo that. It's not filmed well. My explanation is unclear. My own form wasn't great in that demonstration. And it was a really nice reminder of how far I've come in 2020 in terms of my fitness, in terms of my my form and my strength and ability. And I don't necessarily remind myself of that enough. So that was really exciting. That was really nice. But also, I have a lot of things to refilm, which is good, but it's going to take a while. All right, my friends. So one last guided set. You know what you're about at this point. Your old hands at this. So cross-tracking back onto your mat. All right, and get ready. We've got the rhythm going. You're still cross-tracking. 5 and 6, and here we go. and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to cross jacks. I don't know what those words were, but you knew what I was asking of you. Back to your cross jacks, my friends. Good job. Good job. That was our last guided set for class. Huzzah. All right. So you have been crushing it. You've been moving for almost an entire hour. Awesome. We've just got one more set to do. All right. And it's going to be one last perpetual motion set. Only 30 seconds for each exercise. Okay. When we get to the end of it, I will have you go into cross jacks really quickly just so I can get the timer set up, and we will finish out with our calf awareness, okay? So you're not gonna get to quite stop at the end of this, but I promise we'll lead into it. And then y'all know calf awareness, super easy, a great way to get your breath and heart rate back under control, and then we close out class that way. All right, so your final 3 exercises, my friends. First one is going to be our box curtsies, which we're not doing them on a box, so it's basically just a floor curtsy, but don't worry about it. So I'm going to stand straight up and down on one leg, and I'm going to take a nice deep curtsy like this, letting the other leg come behind me, and then stand back up, and other side. And I'm just going to go back and forth. Let me tell you, all these, Victorian Edwardian women having to do these curtsies for royalty, they were getting some solid leg workouts. All right, second exercise is going to be shramps. You know as well as I do when I go turning that mat. So we're rocking ourselves along the length of our mat by first moving shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, and then going back in the other direction and just going back and forth for the entire timer. Fun little core exercise. You know how much I love it. And then our third exercise is kick-throughs. And y'all remember all the form stuff for those from our warm-up, so I won't go over it again. Yeah, you know what you're doing. All right, my friends, so we're cross-jacking away. We start out with our box curtsies, so as soon as you hear that horn, you will stop jumping and start curtsying, okay? And you're really focusing the power on that front leg, okay? It's because we're doing these from the floor, it's impossible to bring this leg backwards without having it on the floor, but I'm really focusing all of the energy, all of my weight is on that front leg, and all of the power to stand back up is coming from that leg. So you need to pay a little bit closer attention than you would if you were doing this from a box. But you can still really focus, make the focal point of the exercise, that front leg. All right, getting down, going into those shrimps. Remember, if you're struggling with translating this into movement, then you can start by just doing really small boat rocks, keeping the core engaged and visualizing, okay, every time my shoulders come off the floor, I need to move them. Every time my hips come off the floor, I need to move them. And then, once you feel like you visualize that enough, then you can try actually doing the movement. Visualization is a powerful tool, okay? Maybe we can't yet translate what we want to do into what our body is doing, but if we can imagine it, then our brain can start laying down the beginnings of pathways, almost as if we're doing it. So then when we start to actually give it a whirl, it becomes a little bit easier. It's crazy. Our brains are so powerful, and we know so little about them. It's fascinating, my friends. But right now, you're doing, what are you doing? Kick-throughs. Yeah, and kick-throughs, you know, I dig into the form every time we do them in the warm-up, so I don't feel like I need to dig too far right now. We do them every time we have class, and remember that you can go slowly as you need to. I selected an incorrect timer, my friends. We are doing more time than I intended to do on this. I apologize. You're doing another 45-second work interval. And that's my fault, but you know what? We're committed now, so I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, and I really apologize. And you know what? You can stop moving when that timer goes off. We'll still do calf awareness, but this will be my present to you for spending an extra almost 2 minutes than what we intended. Dang it! Oh man, it's okay. I mean, what's the worst thing that happens? You get a little extra exercise. Oh no, what will I do? How will I survive the extra exercise? Yeah, no, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But if you started to feel a little additional fatigue and we're going, oh, that's weird. Usually I have this measured out a little bit better. It might be because this timer is not the timer I intended to use. We all make mistakes, my friends. Even teachers, even instructors make mistakes. And, you know, these are times when we need to have a little bit of additional grace for ourselves to remember that there's a lot going on. There's a lot that we're trying to work through, and that it's important that we give ourselves credit for working through things as well as we are. Because we're doing some great work, my friends, in some really stressful situations, and they're not over yet. We've got some big fights ahead of us. Anybody who thought that electing Joe Biden was going to let us move back to sitting on the sidelines, no. We've got a lot of work that we need to do to hold him accountable to everybody, to hold him accountable, and to show us that his campaign promises and his wonderful words in his victory speech the other night are things that we are going to hold him to, things that he needs to deliver on. okay? We need to keep all of the energy that we have been putting into our activism over these last 4 years, and we need to keep it going. We need to keep it going. There's so much more that needs to be done, which is why it is awesome that you're here. Because one of the ways that we keep building and replenishing that well of energy is exercise, moving our bodies, strengthening ourselves, improving our stamina, our power, all right? Our confidence in ourselves, you know? I don't know about you, but I feel more confident about myself after having been teaching class for the last, 5 or 6 months. I feel so much more confident in myself. I am strong and I am powerful, and that is super exciting, and that is going to carry me forward to do all of the work that we need to do, So this is a great place to start, and if you're here, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you, and we are going to work together. We're going to strengthen ourselves up, have a great time doing it, and then we will keep getting out there and making sure that our elected officials are doing the jobs that we have elected them to do, okay? All right, my friends, just 10 more seconds right now, 10 more seconds on this last run of kick-throughs. Feeling good, feeling strong. We're gonna stand right up as soon as they're done. I'm gonna make sure that I select the correct timer this time. I'm gonna make sure it's going for the correct number of repetitions. And as soon as you hear that horn go, let's start by just balancing flat on one foot, okay? Hey, here we are. So we're just balancing, all right? We are focusing all of the micro movements that we need to maintain balance. We want them coming from the ankle and the foot, okay? So we don't want to be wobbling around. We don't want to be moving that leg. We don't want to have to move our arms around. So how do we do this? We activate stabilizing muscle groups, starting with the core. That controls everything in the torso, all right? Make sure that nothing up here is going in a direction we're not expecting it to. Then we engage the glute on the standing leg. That ties all of this together so it becomes one piece. And we do the same thing with the quads. So basically everything from the knee up is one coherent piece. So by the time we get down to the ankle, it's not having to guide a bunch of disparate limbs. It is guiding one solid piece. All right, we've switched to the other side. Same thing. You may find that one side is better or worse at balance. That is totally natural. All right, check in again on all those stabilizing muscle groups. We want to do that check every time we switch back and forth. And it gets harder as we go along in calf awareness. And I definitely still have times where I am like, oh, right, I didn't engage my core. And look how much easier that became as soon as I did. So try and do that check every time we switch sides, because it will really help you. All right, when the timer goes off again, we are going to switch back to that first foot, and we are going to be doing another balance, but it's going to be up on the ball of the foot, okay? So this is going to be a lot more complicated. So here we go, up on the ball of the foot as if we were wearing a very tall high heel. We're still trying to manage all of the micro movements from the foot and ankle, but recognizing that it is a lot harder when we are also balancing on a much smaller surface area, okay? So if you have to wobble a few extra things around in order to maintain that balance, that is understandable. Just try and move towards a place where you can control the movements more from the foot and the ankle. Again, hey, is my core engaged? That's going to help that process. If you feel yourself, all right, we're about to switch sides, but if you feel yourself about to fall out, rather than, okay, we're switching sides, but rather than just letting yourself fall, I want you to control bringing the heel down so you still get that nice extra piece of work for the calf, and then reset, go back up, hold as long as you can, and control bringing that foot down. All right, so we're not, even as we feel like we can't maintain the balance as it is, we still don't want to be letting go of all control, right? We still want to be maintaining as much control over the process as possible. All right, when the timer goes off again, back to that first side, and we will be going back and forth between rocking up on the ball of the foot and rocking back onto the heel. So up on the ball, back on the heel, up on the ball, back on the heel, and we're just going back and forth and back and forth. One thing that can help is finding a single point and focusing your eyes on it, okay? So say I look at the green dot on my webcam, right? And I just focus my eyes on that, and that helps to give me something stable and unmoving to focus on as I go back and forth, all right? And you can see that helps me to maintain a lot more stability so that I can keep doing this exercise and keep it going in a nice regular rhythm. All right, so now we switch to the other side, and the same thing, up on the ball, back on the heel. Remember, you can let your butt come backwards a little bit as you rock back on the heel. You do not need to keep your torso flat up and down, because that would put even more pressure on your shins, and your shins are already about to get a heck of a workout in our final exercise. So you can absolutely just let that butt come backwards just a little bit, okay? Because when the timer goes off again, we're gonna roll back onto both heels and keep those toes off the ground until the timer finally finishes. All right, so we are, let me push this out of the way. We're just up on those heels, and you want to hold that balance as long as you can. When you need to, shuffle around, reset. Hey, am I engaging my core? That certainly makes this easier. Shuffle around, reset. Can I hold? Yes. I'm waving my butt back and forth a little bit, but that's fine. Core is engaged, balance is engaged, and I am just pulling those toes off the ground, okay? They are not coming down for any reason. It is really intense on your shins, absolutely. So be aware of that. You are going to be strengthening your shins. But now you get to let your toes come down, because hooray, hooray, we finished. Whew. All right. Grab that water, my friends. Pat yourself on the back. Roar, exactly. Roar mightily in whatever space you're doing class in. Oh man, good class, fun class. And you know, we're heading into the winter months. I mean, the winter months are essentially already here. And we have a lot less light over the course of the day, which can have a huge impact on people's mental health, a lot of us. And exercise is going to be one of those things that can really help you to keep that energy and keep improving your mental health over the course of the winter. And especially right now, COVID is spiking everywhere. We should not be going to gyms or to indoor spaces where we're spending a lot of time around a lot of other people, all right? So how do we keep ourselves sane? Well, we develop exercise routines that we are able to do here at home or outside and not around others, which can, your mileage may vary on that depending on where you live and how cold it gets. But this class like this, we can always do this. As long as you have an internet connection, you can take class with me, which is amazing, all right? As long as you have an internet connection, you can join. And that's all you really need, I recommend a yoga mat, but that's negotiable. You just need to make sure that you're working out on a surface that's not going to injure you. But yeah, so, we keep building this community, we keep building this discipline, this habit, this routine, and we're gonna make it through. We're gonna make it through the winter months. It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be hard. A lot of us are not, are feeling very trapped, and that's understandable. Just remember that everything that you are doing is helping to keep everybody safe, You're not going to get to see your family over these major holidays, and that's hard. But you're keeping not only your family safe, but also everybody that they come into contact with, and anybody that you come into contact with, and any strangers who might be on the mode of transportation that you were planning on taking. Like, you are doing incredible work, and you're not getting enough credit for it. And there are far too many idiots out there who are trying to behave as if this doesn't exist. And that is terrifying to me. It is terrifying to me that some people have built their worldview so heavily around American individualism and exceptionalism that they refuse to acknowledge the importance of caring for our community and caring for people who are not ourselves. So if you're out there quarantining, really trying not to see others unless you have to, I salute you. If you have to see other people because it is a part of your job and you don't have any other options financially right now, I'm there with you. I understand. It sucks. But you're still doing good work. You're still doing great work, and I'm proud of you. All right, my loves. That was the end of class today. We've got 3 more classes this week. Tomorrow at 4:30 p.m., we've got Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Friday at 6 p.m., Mountain Time. All these times are Mountain Time. We've got Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we have the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stability focused bodyweight class. So definitely come around for some of those classes. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload the VODs from these streams. And as we talked about earlier, a lot of additional content is going to be going up there. Form videos, stretching sequences, warm-up sequences, stuff like that. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a Ko-fi account, Blanche Case Fitness. Donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help keep growing this community, we are so tantalizingly close to hitting 3 of the 4 metrics we need to hit for Twitch affiliate. So if you want to help out with that, keep growing us, give us the ability to have actual subscribers to the channel and do emotes and all that fun stuff, then definitely please follow the channel, tell your friends, loved ones, colleagues, anybody looking for an awesome fitness class. I stream 4 days a week and I want to do more, so definitely keep coming around. Head over to Desert Bus for Hope if you still have more energy for Twitch streams. They're over there doing a lot of incredible work for Child's Play Charity this week. And I'm absolutely going to be heading right on over there as soon as we're done. Make sure that you're wearing a mask if you leave the house, washing your hands, staying at least 6 feet away from everybody, not being an asshole to people who work in grocery stores or in restaurants about enforcing mask protocol. And I will see some of you back here tomorrow night. Mwah. Have a great night.